everyone, my name is Sally McFadden and I blog at thepolkadotlife.com. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in the United States. There is so much going on in Stampin' Up! Right now. First off, I want to tell you about a new joining promotion. If your wish list is super long, you should really consider joining the Stampin' Up! Family. Our kit is always a great deal because you pick what you want in your kit, and it's usually $99 for $125 of product. But from now until November the 30th, you can still get that $125 worth of products for only $75. Now you do have to pay tax, but you don't pay shipping. So it is just a great deal and you can fill it with all kinds of goodness. Also, you could choose the new Eden's Garden collection, and that is wonderful. And if you want to see some graphics for that, just go to thepolkadotlife.com and click on that shop tab. Today we are going to be playing with the Harvest Meadow Suite. It has gorgeous trim designer series paper. It has stamps, it has dies, it has an embossing folder, embellishments, all kind of great fun toys to play with. And this suite is just perfect for this time of year. Let's head to the craft desk and get started. I am a fall girl for sure. And so this immediately, I was drawn directly to this suite of products. We are going to be using most of these items today. We are not going to be playing with the cork today. We have played with that in the past though. But I think we're going to be using everything else in this suite of products. I'm going to bring in a piece of grid paper to help keep things clean. I have a scrap piece that I had of basic white and I don't need near this much. But first we are going to take our soft succulent ink and we have this flower. You might be able to see it better on this image. This flower, I guess it's a smaller cone flower maybe, I'm not sure. The large image is definitely a cone flower, not so sure about this one. But I want to stamp off, I just want a vague little bit of this flower, and I'm not sure exactly where we're going to be cutting. So we're going to just do this a few times on here. And that is super cute. I am also going to open the Evening Evergreen, and we have a sentiment. Now I needed birthday cards, so on this particular card and on a couple other ones, I didn't use the sentiments from the kit. I just needed some other kind of cards. I did some with and some that are different. But before we start stamping with that Evening Evergreen, I think I want to go ahead and cut out this piece so I can see where it is that I need to stamp. And I'm using the postage stamp punch. I love that one. So we just flip that around the way we need it to be. I am going to move this around so I don't stick my arm in it. And this is wishing you a wonderful birthday. And I'm actually even going to stamp it once just to kind of see how it's stamping straight and how's it going. Okay. And I apologize if my head gets right in the middle of the shot. Well, I don't love that. I got that crooked. So let's just do this again. I've moved our sentiment out of the way and I brought in a clean layer just because I need to use my sponge dauber on it, and I had stamped that greeting on there and I don't want to get that color on my sponge dauber. But part of the suite is the time-worn type, I guess it's called, embossing folder. So I've taken this basic white layer and I embossed it. Now I could have taken this ink directly to that folder, but I didn't want that bold of a color. So I am just putting, and you can see I have this one marked for soft succulent, and I am just going to, just to get this going a little bit, get this moistened up, and I am just going to drag, particularly just across these raised areas, some of that soft succulent ink. And you can do this as light or as dark as you want, as much or as little as you want. Now some of this we are going to be covering up. Sorry that this is moving on me, but yeah, you can just do this as heavy. You can get down in these lower areas if you want to. Particularly since these are typed images, I am just going straight across, and I'm not like going in circles on this particular piece of paper. And you just kind of want to see maybe with a little bit of that lighter. Sometimes it does help to just kind of cover that bright white edge a little bit. I like how this is turning out. And this color might lighten a little bit as it dries. And I have this card, and then I have some other cards too. I've just made a little nest out of this white twine. And I'm just going to put it on here, and I am going to secure that with some Scotch tape. You just have to make sure it doesn't stick out over the edge. You may have to scooch this over a little bit. And you can just see there on the back, I've just put that tape there, and you just kind of, it's very free form with this twine. You can make it go kind of however you want to. You wouldn't have to secure this other side, but I kind of like to get the twine going how I like it. It's like I'm for controlled artistry sometimes, if that makes any sense. And so let's take at least a couple of these layers and catch it in that tape. So we have these two elements. We'll move to the side. We also have these layers of the soft succulent and then of the DSP. Now you do want to keep in mind with both this and the other layers that you can't read every word, but you can definitely read some of the words, so you want to make sure that this type is facing the correct way on your card. Let's put some glue here. And this one isn't centered all the way around. This is just centered. It's the same width. We're just going to make sure we have equal spots here and here. And we give that a little press. We have our basic white thick card base. And let's take our bone folder and fold this in half. You always want to make sure the edges of your card are straight, and then you push out towards the side. And I have found that your crease stays better if you kind of run it on this, kind of that back third or towards the back end of your bone folder. And then you want to make sure that you use liquid glue or a really strong adhesive, because this is embossed, and you know that it takes a little bit stronger of an adhesive to work there, to bond well there. If you use the tape runner, I would use the Seal Plus, not the regular seal. And you can just kind of make this as high or low as you want it to be. I'm going to tap it on the side just to make sure that that is lined up straight along the edge. And again, we're going to keep using this liquid glue, and we're going to just keep putting it around. You don't want globs of it, but you do need enough to make sure that this is going to sit and stick to this card front. And you, again, we're making sure that our words are going the correct way. And we are just going to get this centered up on the front of our card. So nice, I love it. So here we have the front of our card. And then it's just really straightforward. We're just going to put some dimensionals on this sentiment. And you just kind of want to go not right where your thread is. You might want to catch a little corner of it if you didn't use tape. But you don't want it to get super bulky. And I normally would just put it in the corners, but it just doesn't work out that way with this particular method. And I am going to put a little bit, since we have a lot of layers going on, I'm just going to make sure I can get this lined up right. And it's just a really sweet, almost monochromatic card, with the exception of that evening evergreen sentiment. But isn't that super pretty? Now, of course, I didn't put any gems on my card. You could certainly do that, but you certainly could, and that would be really pretty there. I've taken some soft succulent and some basic white and just a strip of that. I had just a scrap of that designer series paper left over. So I just decorated the inside. And I know that this is a basic white layer, but you know what? Sometimes, especially if it's a special birthday, you just want to kind of kick things up a notch. So we're just going to put this on here. Let me take a peek at it this way. Yes, we're straight. So isn't that sweet? I love that. Just really fun. And I just stamped that same flower down here as well. I've done that also with the envelope too. You don't want to send naked envelopes. And of course, if you have some left over that you're not planning on using, adding that designer series paper to your flap of your envelope always makes for a really nice card too. So we have this one, and I have some other. I loved the catalog, and I love their samples. As a perk of being a consultant, you do get somewhat of a recipe list for the cards in the catalog. It's a vague recipe. And so if you ever want help recreating a card, I can help you somewhat on it. We don't always know all of the steps. Like, I think actually this layer was embossed, but I didn't figure that out until after I had glued things down. So I think this is really sweet. Now my sentiment is different as well, but I think this is a sweet card. I love the colors. I love that Calypso coral pop in there. And we just took some of the craft ink and went across these Misty Moonlight sprigs here. We've made these tags longer than what they are. You have to kind of partial die cut and move your dies down so that you can get a longer tag to accommodate for this long flower. But we've added some of those metallic gems here, and I think those are really nice. Here's a fun fold card, and it takes advantage of a lot of the images in this set, and that's why I love it. I colored this with my Stampin' blends, and then it has a little message in here, and then it also opens up for a place for you to write your personalized message there. I think this one might be my favorite. I don't know why. It just ended up, I just love the textiles. I love getting to use this trim. I used this big cone flower, and I just took a sponge dauber with some crumb cake, I believe, over this and just kind of cut some of those raised areas. And I just made a little grouping here out of these die cut images. And they are on this side, they are on dimensionals. And then these side just rest against the trim. And then I just did this sentiment here. Now, Pool Party isn't listed as one of the colors, but that's kind of what I saw when I saw this. I think it's supposed to be soft succulent, but I just could see Pool Party in here, so that's what I went with. And then I just did this bumblebee layer and that flower again in the inside. So here are my 4 cards from this suite of products, and I love them all. They're very different. You can just do so many different things. Clean and crisp. A little more artistic, something a little bit more vintage, all kinds of things, fun folds, just straightforward cards, so many possibilities. As always, remember to be kind, send a card, and do something creative. Bye-bye.